Okay, before I get into my other build I just got yesterday, update on this guy. So this is a Hammerhead Corvette from a couple of sources, but primarily from Rogue One. We see this towards the end of the battle over Scarif, and one of them is sent in to take down a couple of Star Destroyers by ramming into a side and making them crash and actually taking on the shield thing that's over Scarif so that they can, you know, beam the transmission of the Death Star plans up to the uh, rebel ships above. But anyways, really cool ship, and I knew I wasn't quite done with it, but I put it on the back burner for a while. I don't remember if I've even uploaded a video. I believe I have. I didn't bother to check my 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 videos to see what I uploaded, if this was part of it from before. I would imagine. If not, oh well. Here it is. This was from AliExpress. I forget. I don't think it would cost that much. I can't remember. I think it's around between mid 20s to maybe 40 something dollars. I think. I'm pretty sure this was originally based. It was. I mean, the kit you get is basically based off of somebody did a mock on, and you can probably find it on Rebreakable. If I try to post, if I can find it again, I should be able to post a link to that. So just give credit where credit is due. But since then, I just wanted to, or one, I just wanted all the parts ready, or at least most of them should have been. I don't remember I was missing anything from this. This was actually rather complete for one of those, unlike some other, cheap knockoff or copies or rip-off designs that they quickly piece together. There could be some missing parts, or yeah, but I don't recall there really being anything wrong with this. But I knew there's not all the things were perfect. So since then, I made a couple of modifications on these turrets on both sides. I added some details and changed up, and widened it out just because it was too narrow, and getting some parts. And also I extended the engines, I believe, forward more. They were just kind of hovering back here a little bit short. They should have been longer, and they lacked any detail around it, primarily on the sides as well as the bottom. Well, I'll get to the bottom in a second. So I did what I could to match what's kind of going on here to the side of this, as well as the opposite side. And even though it's on the bottom, I tried to find a way to just sort of mimic that on the bottom the best I could, at least so you can see somewhat on the side that it is trying to do that. I did modify the, if I can zoom up a bit, if it doesn't cover it, which I think at this angle it is, but can I see? Oh, yeah, you can see it. Or at least I can see it. There's something blocking my view on screen. But right here, the engine was all different, and I had to do some things here to make. Also, I think it was missing some orange pieces down here too. Anyways, I did another mocks. Changes there to the back here. Again, the engine. Change these. Sorry, saw a screen. Just to change it. I actually had to make some custom stickers, add these color banding here. I just figured that's the quickest way to do it instead of replacing it with actual bricks. Yeah, I just make call them cheats or whatever, but I just do what I could to make what I needed to make happen. And this piece here, I added to, I think I added it. Probably did, yeah. But it was just not the right color. I couldn't find this piece in orange. They just don't make it, so I had to cover it up with a decal, which I need to work on. But overall, it works. Not the best, but I'm not too tripping over that too much. What else I do? I redid this part. It started off really short, and it should have been closer to this section. And so I got a new piece and extended it. It's still not quite the right shape and length, and I'll get into that in a moment. But anyways, that was one of my first attempts to at least make this part of it a little bit, try to make it more accurate. Actually, this piece should be actually on the back here, but I'm changing something there. That's why I took it off. And I made some custom decals and some changes to the front to make it better, mainly around the cockpit, but then also the cannons here were custom made. Anyways, so this looks much more closer to how it should be. They were using something like this, like a single cannon, but it should be like a dual. Now, going into this, now I've had a chance like to really. I keep going back and forth on the reference materials that I have to make this more accurate. I mean, ideally, I would like to buy this miniature of the hammerhead. That would be great to have because it's really nice, but it's kind of pricey for a small miniature. So I think it's only 6 inches long. It's made out of metal. It's die cast, and I think only right now I can only find in Japan, but it's kind of pricey. The model itself is about $60-$70. I think somewhere around there, and then with shipping, basically spending close to 80 or maybe even $90 for a little thing, and I don't know if I like it that much to have it. I mean, I really do want it, but because I do like the hammerhead, but then just for that little miniature, it's detailed and probably the best model I'll ever find of it. That's more realistic, I guess, for the scale and everything. Yeah, maybe someday, but anyways, I go off of photos and I keep looking, and one thing is definitely need to make a stand. So what I'm going to do is take this and mount it onto here, which originally it was, but then I added all this stuff on the bottom. It used to be flat. It didn't have all this stuff down here, which it's basically the same as this, but it's just like that. I couldn't have a way to invert it so it's facing out, and I don't want to because then I wouldn't have the studs or anti-studs here to clip onto something. So what I need to do here is actually mount this onto here and then add like a black plate. I think 2x6 down here to cover up the bottom. This will mount on directly onto here, and then to cover the rest here to grip it, hold it on here, 2x6 all the way to the end, and then like a 2x2 right under here, right in this gap here, and that should all hold this back part down. I was thinking if I pushed it on hard, maybe it would hold, but I feel kind of scary. This is so it's not front heavy, but there is a lot of extension here, and there's some mass up the front. Most of the mass is actually, the heaviest obviously this part is pretty chunky, the engine area, but there's still enough of the front that extends outward. This could, it still wants to tilt forward. So I'm not too sure about confident of just holding it with studs, connection right back here solely. So what I'm going to do is add some bricks here. I was thinking about this because I did not want to block this, from different angles. Just wanted to keep it clear, but that doesn't seem feasible. And I can't just put one. I didn't want to put one instead of adding two parts. If I was going to do one, it would be here. But tell you the truth, the middle point is, I don't know. This wouldn't work. And then plus you would have something directly blocking this part, which still won't look good. So I'm going to hold it down here, and then I'm going to add some transparent bricks and have it meet up right up here. It might be part of this as well, but at least a single line here. But I'm thinking also, because I can't find one long transparent piece to hold it. It has to be made up of some smaller pieces, a bunch of bricks. And I'm not too sure about that at this height. I mean, it might be okay, but any slight movement, I can see it collapsing, breaking maybe. There's maybe too many small bricks, so that's why to minimize the number of bricks here, I'm going to drop this down. So I'll probably drop this to, I don't want this flat on the floor, but I think this feels slightly high, especially maybe if I compare it to, I don't have any more here, but I have the MIDI scale Lego, starships. I think this could go down at least one brick lower, maybe two. We'll see. And then this will might not need as many bricks to hold it up here. So that's one thing, is just finally making a stand for this to hold up on its own, other than it's just basically been on the ground here. The other thing now, I looked at it closer, and I need cannons that look like this up here. Actually, they're not single cannons. They're actually versions. They're just like this. So there's one longer and one shorter barrel, I guess. And so I think the longer ones, if you put them here, the longer ones on the outside and the shorter ones are inside, or maybe it's vice versa. I'll have to look at the picture again. But basically, cannons like that here, but then of course they would be mirrored on that side. So, you know, if you look from the top, long, short, or is it long, short? But anyways, this section is fine, but there's like this round part that holds another turret here, which also needs to be a double turret, but it's not quite the same. They're actually even. So I need to redo this. I'm thinking of adding some sort of something round like a ring that needs to be down here, and then this can will sit here, and then it needs a little piece that extends back into this part of the engine as well, basically. But that's main thing. This part needs to move up and have this kind of circle ring thing that's in this area, which it should be if you look at the material and such. And also this part is a little bit short. There should be like a little extra piece, so I'm going to extend this part of it by one more studs width. So I'm just going to build another one of this, just basically make this longer right here, get this one shorter, because since this is moving up, I'm going to have two by two area. So I need a half one of these with preferably two studs, because I can put on like a grill piece, and because there is some sort of detail on this section on the top. So I can get a part that's half this size basically, and with a little two studs on top. I can stick a grill piece, something like this or like this, but probably in a dark gray, or probably like this guy here to match, and just put it here. That'll go right there. This antenna needs to change. I actually looked at the material, and I have known this for a while, but it shouldn't look like this at this point. Hang on. Sorry, I can't turn this off. Oh yeah, I don't want to waste the battery. There needs to be a flatter antenna that comes off almost towards the back of it, and I did finally find a solution for that. So anyways, that's another thing I'm going to work on, replacing this and then adding a more correct antenna, I guess, that's back here. This whole section back on the back here also needs to change. It's not rounded enough. It's too straight and square, I guess, but it should be more curved. Looks like almost like this kind of shape going across the top, right? In orange. Maybe not quite this tall. I think this would be too tall for this anyways. It needs to be shorter. So I got a bunch of these pieces kind of like this. That's going to cover the back here. And it's going to, yeah, basically it'll come out and create like a little kind of, I don't know, armor or shell or whatever you want to call it across the back here. And it should be more rounded. Again, that's the main thing. I might have to add some decals or something, because there are some openings with little tiny details, like a spot here or there. But the main thing is getting that orange kind of shape over the length of this part. So I'm going to remove all this and replace it with something else there. So that's that part. So that part is from here to here, be adjusted. The cannons. And the next part, I gotta change this to gray too. I think I have some pieces here, or if I don't, I better. God, if I ever got them on here. Maybe I don't think I was able to find it last time. I went to Bricks and Minifigs and did a session there to get some parts, but still missing some things I need to get. But that's just a little detail I need to change. This should actually be gray over here. Then looking at this part, something wasn't right and I keep looking at it and the proportions aren't right. This is just way too long and big, and it should come out more like, it should come out like a triangle and then like a straighter edge here, which I believe, which I already originally had, but it wasn't, this is too far back, like where it ends, like it tapers down to the body. I think I had something like this before that was actually back here. It's a little short, so I was thinking if I added maybe something like this towards the back. Maybe have a way to clip it from behind to hold it together like this as one piece. That would be an idea, but basically this needs to be about this length right here. That's about right. About 8 studs wide, long, up to roughly about to the end of this section. And this actually needs to move back into here. So either up to into here, move the full length down into here, or at least 3/4 of the way in. Well, basically up to here. Not all the way back. This is going to be too far back. I think the front of this needs to more or less line up with this. So this should go about 2 studs in, I think, right? This is 4 wide. So then, yeah, I think right by here. Maybe it could go back. See, the thing is, I think I could get away with pushing it back 1 more stud. It doesn't have to be, that would be still close enough to line up with this. I just need it a bit closer to this area, to this wing. That's going to be here, because this, if you look at the material, this comes pretty much almost comes in contact with this, the back part of this part. So this needs to be closer. If there's a 1 stud gap, I may be able to just say fuck it, but that'll do, unless I can find a way to move it up one. In that case, I need a 3x3. Did I ever get a 3x3? Because I got so many pieces. I don't know why I got the 1x4. What was that for? Oh, I don't remember. Well, what I could do is, I guess I might need to find a 1x3 somewhere, or order the part if they have that, a 3x3. Or I might add something like this to the back, so it's like 9 wide, and I might extend it just enough to meet it. But the question, I don't want to do it out of 3 parts. If I can just do it out of 2, this would be a 3x3. I might go there and meet up with that. And so I might have to swap some of these bricks, move them over here, and this moves over this way. I don't have all the parts for that yet, so I just came up with this after thinking about the other parts. And I didn't want to tackle too much just yet. This is a pretty major section I got to redesign, actually, because what's the problem now is that, angle this out a little more, is that this part of it is just too wide. If I looked at the reference material, and this also shouldn't stick out this far. This only, this part of this, it's kind of like a weird like mid-wing, I guess. That shouldn't extend past this part of it. So I gotta really basically push it up against here. And so basically what I gotta do, that goes for maybe some of the stuff on the bottom here, is take out all this section, and it's gotta be pretty much flat. Like from right in here down to whatever down is here, it should be flatter. See, much more narrow in this midst inside here. Right now they have it coming out and it's too far, so I need to push this back in and narrow that stuff in there. So that's another thing. There's going to be quite a bit of work there. I'm gonna pull all this stuff out and see what I have to work with, and then I definitely need to move this back. Gotta reduce this, and then if that's all done, because this really has to be pushed in, because then this, if you look at the silhouette from this on top, this part actually does stick out a bit, and then it goes in, and then the wing comes back out. So of course the opposite mirrored on that side. So yeah, this is a whole new thing that I gotta redo. Otherwise, yeah, I have some stuff to work with here, but I definitely need to look at it again and figure out what extra parts that I don't have. I actually wrote down a huge list somewhere. Let me show you real quick. So, here. And I drew pictures, and I found all the part numbers for everything that I was looking for. And I got most of the stuff that's been checked off. These I'm not doing. Whatever has a star next to it, which almost is everything, I will need or should have some things like, as I built this part up, this midsection with this where the turret will be in the center. It depends on how it's gonna look. Well, I gotta get this piece, but I gotta figure out how it's gonna connect to this back part too. That's another tricky part of it. Anyways, I got my stuff here. I gotta figure out. But that's the next plan for this particular model here. It's just reworking this top half, the gun turrets, and then making a stand, and then taking these out and just figuring out how I'm gonna redo this, slim it down, make smaller wings, move this back, and I guess fill this up with something as well, because it's got to have something over there. And that's it. So I think I babbled on enough, but I like to talk my plan of action out and just show you like where my head's going and how I'm going to try to figure this out. And that's it. Thanks.